Hello ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Radolescence and welcome back to another review. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in today's episode, I'm very excited to be talking to you guys a little bit about the brand new Thierry Mugler fragrance. This one released in 2019. It's called Angel Eau de Toilette, so stay tuned. Now, before I begin the video, I do want to mention that if you are new to this channel, I would love it if you could support this channel. It's easy and it's free. All you need to do is click that red subscribe button in the corner and also remember to enable notifications, but please wait until the end of the video to do so and allow me to deliver value first. So this fragrance was released just this year in 2019. The perfumer for this is Louise Turner, who has also done a fragrance by Nina Ricci. I know she's done a couple for Maison Martin Margiela, one of them being At the Barbershop or At the Barbers. And I know she's also done A Good Girl by Carolina Herrera, and she's worked on Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So she has quite an impressive resume, and here she brings to you, or the company Mugler brings to you, the new Angel Eau de Toilette 2019. Now the original was released in 1992, and I know so because my mother has been wearing it since then. She is a huge fan of the original. Since then, we have both, and I mean my mother and I, have both acquired many Angel flankers and versions throughout the years. I have the Comet version. I have several different versions of it. And recently, I also had the opportunity to review the new Eau Croisier, which I'm going to leave a link for down in the description. So definitely check that one out. That was a unique flanker as well, with a bit of mango in it too. Now, this one, on the other hand, is a lighter, fresher, more youthful and fruitier interpretation of the original. And I personally love the original. It's one of my favorite women's perfumes of all time. I actually met the perfumer Olivier Cresp in person. He and I even hosted an event together earlier on this year. So he is a fantastic individual, and I'm very close with him in that regard. And I've spoken to him on a number of occasions, as well as at the Fragrance Foundation Awards. And he told me a little bit about what it was like creating the original Angel. And, you know, it didn't really become a success until 3 years later. Here, we're in the era of fast fragrance, and there are control groups, and a lot is done to ensure that the fragrance is going to be a hit. So I'm excited to tell you if I think this one is a hit. But let's start things off by taking a very quick and close look at the presentation. So the box for this one is rather simple. It just has the name of the fragrance up here in the front, and of course it just says Mugler now because Thierry Mugler changed the name to just Mugler. At the bottom it says Eau de Toilette, and I bought the 50 milliliter size, which is the largest size that you can buy this one in. It's only available in the 2 sizes, and the conversion is 1.7 fluid ounces. The back just has the ingredients on the bottom. And in comparison to the original, I think it's pretty clear to see that the one on the right kind of has like a light purple pink tint to it. It's also worth noting that the bottom of the bottle has been altered so that this one can stand up straight. The serial number for this one can be located on the back right below the cap here. And actually, it's not fair to say that there's a cap because this fragrance actually has a built-in atomizer, and the distribution of which is actually pretty good. Let's continue with the smell. Now, as soon as this fragrance opens up, you are certainly going to be reminded of the original Angel. The difference with this one, of course, is that it's a bit lighter, fresher, and more youthful. Now, I know there's a red berry accord utilized in here, which I think definitely gives it a bit of a fruitier vibe, not nearly as fruity as Eau Croisier, which is, you know, the mango interpretation of Angel. But this one by Louise Turner is definitely an interesting blend. Now, it's certainly not as heavy as the original, and I know a lot of the women that I've spoken to, including my mother, she says perhaps it's a bit of that patchouli note that's working in here. It kind of gives off the smell of soil or soil tincture. I don't know how many other people get that from the original Angel. I know I personally do, and that for a lot of people is a turnoff. Some people actually really love it. And of course, this was the very first gourmand fragrance. It took a while for it to become successful, but I think that it also veers into Oriental territory on account of the vanilla, the patchouli, and many other ingredients that are working in there. I know the original Angel has a bit of a curry note, which is really interesting. I think it's made possible on account of the ingredient Immortelle, which can either smell like curry or it can smell like fenugreek spice. I don't get much of that in here. So this is definitely reinterpreted in a much lighter and fresher way. I know there's also a note of praline in here, and praline is very common in women's fragrances. I know it very well in a men's fragrance by Paco Rabanne called Black Excess. I love the way it's done in that one. It's so creamy and juicy and tasteful and gourmand. And here you get something similar to that, but the fresh aspects aren't diminished. So you're definitely going to get remnants of the original. The DNA is inevitably in here. When you smell it, you're going to say, oh yeah, that smells like Angel. But when you do a side-by-side, you see that the patchouli isn't as strong, that soil undertone isn't as strong, those green, verdant, earthy elements aren't as strong, and you're pretty much left with something that's much lighter, much fresher, an emphasis or a spotlight on the fruiting nuances without necessarily smelling too strongly of one particular fruit, like the Eau Croisière version. All in all, I love this fragrance. I really enjoy this one. I was actually up at the Hudson's Bay Company when I was visiting a friend up north, and this is one of the new ones that I smelled. Of course, I also purchased the new men's Alien Fusion flanker, and I smelled the women's as well as Flora Futura, and I wasn't that interested in that one. I found it to be a bit too similar to the original. Of course, it was done a bit differently, but this is the one that I really fell in love with, and I knew I needed to A, have it for my collection, but B, allow my mother to wear it most of the time because she is a huge fan of Angel. So I really enjoyed this one. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, I took a look at the uniqueness in the overall smell, and despite the fact that this is a flanker of the original Angel, I still find this one to be rather unique. I think this one is unique in the sense that it reminds me of the original Angel, but it does things differently without necessarily playing around with the balance of notes, but including new notes. And I think this is something that we need to see more often with flankers. It's one thing that I particularly enjoyed with a lot of the men's flankers in the Amen line. So we had Pure Coffee, Pure Tonka, Pure Havane, Pure Malt, Cryptomint, and I feel as though the only one that really smelled similar to the original was Le Parfum de Cuir, which is the essence of leather interpretation. Anyway, I really enjoy what they did with this one, and the overall smell is incredibly addictive, and I can definitely see this one appealing to a much younger crowd, but also the lifelong fans of Angel I think will really appreciate this as well, without it necessarily smelling like an adulterated version of Angel. In terms of the longevity on this one, it was pretty good. I got about 7 to 8 hours, which pretty much would last you through your workday. Projection on this one was, I think, a little bit better than the original Angel. The thing with the original Angel, though, I think it had pretty steady projection for a longer time. This one is loud in the beginning and then it settles rather quickly. So I do think that the projection was really good on this one, but it all depends on what kind of performance you want from your fragrance. If you want something a bit more consistent, go with the original. If you want something that's going to give people an impression as soon as you put it on, go with this one. In terms of the versatility, I think it's pretty versatile. I think you can wear this one casually. You can also wear this one semi-formally and formally, just because it's such an amazing and well put together blend of notes. And I think that this is one that would definitely appeal to women a bit more than it would appeal to men. I think in terms of it being a sweet scent, you know, men typically gravitate towards the more vanilla tonka bean heavy scents, whereas women gravitate toward, you know, the praline, the cotton candy, that sort of stuff. Not necessarily in the wheelhouse of Aquilina's pink sugar, but you know what I mean. And I do think that this is one that can be worn, as I said earlier, by any woman of any age. I think it'll appeal to the lifelong fans of Angel as well. In terms of the presentation, I love the fact that they made an Angel bottle that can finally stand up. It definitely makes my life a little bit easier when I'm putting it on this podium to present it to you guys and gals. But ultimately, my final verdict on this one is I love this one. Now, if you put a gun to my head and say, which one do you prefer, this one or the original, I think I'm going to end up telling you that I like the original a little bit better, but I think that this is a perfect way to do it if you're looking for something to wear when the weather is a little bit hot outside. So I would probably wait and wear the original Angel in the fall and winter. This one in the spring and summer is just so light and effervescent, and not light in the sense that it's imperceptible, but it's a lighter interpretation of the 1992 classic. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of the new Angel Eau de Toilette by Thierry Mugler. If you own or have tried this fragrance, I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. And again, if you are new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would love it if you could support this channel by subscribing to it. It's easy and it's free, and it supports what I've been doing for the past 7+ years. All you got to do is click that red subscribe button in the corner. And this way, whenever I do review new fragrances, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future upload, and of course that includes fragrance reviews just like this, top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.